I'm going to address the fact that it looks different behind me than normal. The reason it looks like that is I'm looking over at the corner of my table. We have ants. So I did not want to cook near the ants. We do have an ant trap out there, so it's doing its job. It's working. As IT guy says, I just have to trust the process. So it looks a little different than normal, but that's okay. Uh, this is just the other side of my kitchen. So today we are making Buckeye Candy, which is literally one of my favorite candies. It's so, so good. Um, and we're going to get started on that right away. I'm going to tell you, I use a lot of natural peanut butter. There are some things that only certain things will do. Now, my husband grew up on a different brand of peanut butter than I did. Uh, a lot of the things that I ate as a kid had to do with the fact that my grandfather was an engineer at Procter and Gamble. And at the time, I don't think it is anymore actually, this company was owned by Procter and Gamble, or this peanut butter brand. So I believe they've since been sold. So that is what we start with when we are doing Buckeyes. Is we start with 1 cup, and I'm actually making what's considered a very small batch of Buckeyes. I'm going to make, there's going to be about 24 of them. So that, yes, that is a small batch, believe it or not. Some of the recipes I looked at, it was double this size. Some were even bigger. So a lot of people, when they make these, they make them for like large events. We have them at Christmas every year, which for some people that's not a large event. My husband's family, when I married into this family, was 65. His immediate family was 65 people. And when I say immediate family, that was parents, siblings, and their children. There were no great grands or anything at that point, and we didn't have any till later. So my children are grandchildren number 25. Was it 25? It's either 25, 26, 27, or 26, 27, and 28. I can't remember. And it's a big family. The other thing is, this is something I always admired about my in-laws, is that it didn't matter whether you were born into the family, married into the family, adopted into the family, or however. If you lived with a Bemis, you were part of the family. And sometimes even if you didn't live with the Bemis, you were part of the family. So we're going to start with, and if you don't have one of these things, you need one. They're amazing. It's called a Wonder Cup. And you don't have to get the Pampered Chef brand, but I'm telling you, these things are outstanding. I'm going to take that off while I put this stuff in. So much easier. All right, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our hi, Ivan. Thanks for stopping in. So we start with our peanut butter, and again, I'm a little off kilter because I'm on the other side of my kitchen. I normally just toss all this stuff into the sink, so I'm going to be handing it off to my IT guy, also known as my son. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 5 tablespoons of butter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to add that in. And just to make it easier, because it's not super warm, I'm going to chunk this up a little bit so it'll mix in faster. So Buckeyes are they're a nut that's poisonous to humans, but they're also what people who are native to my state are called. They're called Buckeyes. So there is a joke amongst us that about that, but anyway, so we're going to cream up that the butter and the peanut butter real quick. See, I'm even backwards with that kind of stuff. So that's in there good and tight. Gonna work those together. Got my steps here so I don't forget what to do. All right. It's mixing up nicely. And then we are going to slowly, and I do mean slowly, because we're going to be using powdered sugar to make these Buckeyes. So the insides are peanut butter, powdered sugar, and some vanilla. About a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to give that a little pour. About a teaspoon. And we need 2 cups of this. I normally do this over the sink, but this is where I'm going to put we make little balls out of the filling with the peanut butter on it. So I'll just put it on here, and whatever extra I might have, I will discard it. Get that off of there. Don't need that. All right. A little more. There we go. And it's okay that it's sticking. Okay. So we don't want a big poof. Hi, Dorothy. Welcome in. We're making Buckeyes today. That's what we're going to start with. And then while those are chilling, we're going to make a Cincinnati staple, which is a big boy sandwich. We don't have them much anymore because, sadly, Frisch's, that was the franchise that started the big boy, made some bad financial decisions, and there aren't too many of them left now. So some venture capitalists made some good money, but not the people who own the franchises, unfortunately. So we're going to let that do its thing while we get another cup. I think it's 2 cups. Yeah, 2 cups of powdered sugar. So yes, there's a lot of sugar, which is why you only have them on special days. Although I found a candy place in Columbus, Ohio, which is a couple hours from where I live. And they have a sugar-free version that is really, really good. So that's exciting. That's just about right. Get that in there, let that incorporate. I love my KitchenAid when I have stuff like this to make. Makes it so easy. And then I was a little short, so I'm just going to take this last little bit of powdered sugar, put that in there. Sometimes you just kind of wing it. Oh. Trying to figure out where that came from. It was on here. Keep my powdered sugar from getting all clumpy. I know in other parts of the world they call this icing sugar, so if you happen to be from that part of the world, just letting you know. It's icing sugar, I believe, across the pond. So I know in Britain that's what they call it. I don't know what they call it in other parts of Europe and other parts of the world. I really don't. It's essentially pulverized sugar. Get that all incorporated. And then, oh, I had it unlocked. All right, and now we're gonna push this off of here. That would be my dogs. The neighbor dogs are out, so now they're gonna go play and bark and run up and down the fence for a while. So if you hear dogs barking, you'll know that's why. One of them's wanting in, which is unusual because it's really nice out. Especially with the neighbor dogs out. That's when they're usually really wanting to go out. So, okay. There's nothing gross, nothing dangerous. So, yes, I am going to try the filling. The peanut butter. My husband's done work for Hershey. And this, what made me think of it is it's that like peanut butter mixture. And they call it panouche. The inside of a Reese cup. So, there you go. All right. Hey, tea guy, here you go. Next thing. I usually make a big sink full of hot water. Forgot to do it today. Oh well. All right, so the next thing is to roll this into balls. But to make this easier, and this is something my husband and I learned making meatballs, it's easier if you scoop it first, and then you just have a very little bit of molding to do. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop all these out real quick. And then I'll roll them. So I was intimidated by candy making for a long time. And especially because a lot of people will tell you candy making is even more of a science sometimes than than baking. And I'm kind of a wing it kind of girl when it comes to cooking. I love to do it, but if it's a, hard fast, it's got to be so many grams or whatever, I can't be bothered, to be honest. And I admire people who do. I have a son who does that. He likes to bake very complicated things. Not my thing. So I just go with the pace I can. I don't want to have a lot of rules. That's just me. I want to have fun with it. I don't want it to be, and I know that is fun for some people. It's just not fun for me. So even with a recipe, as a matter of fact, my husband's even worse than I am about cooking, because when I make a recipe, unless there's something in it I absolutely don't like, I will do it pretty much by the recipe. Where my husband looks at it and it's barely a set of guidelines for him. So it's like, well, let's do this and let's do this. And I'm like, let's make it right the first time, and then we can make it different if we don't like it. So it's an ongoing thing with us. I should have had you move the fan because I'm warm. You think we could plug it in over there and maybe... I usually have a fan on because it gets, even though I'm not cooking, I get warm when I'm on camera. So I think the size they were making it was a little bigger, because I think I'm going to have more than 24. So I've got just a little bit more, and then we'll start rolling them. And the other thing is, like, unlike, when you watch chefs and stuff cook, they'll make about a few of these, and then the next thing you know, I'm live. That's the difference. Next thing you know, theirs are done. So I do mine live so you see it. Sometimes I do some prepping in advance, but not something this big. And I guess some people would. so that you're just doing the last couple of them. I don't think I can plug it in over here. I'm thinking if we plug it in over there. So he's brilliant. He'll figure it out. So one of the things we've discussed, if you're somebody who hasn't responded already this week, we're talking about regional dishes, because the reason I call this 513 week, 513, the way we do our dates in the United States is that we do month, day, and year, where I know in other parts of the world they do day, month, year. So because of the way we do it, stay apart. Because of the way we do it, May being the 5th month, the 13th was this week, it becomes 513 week. You looking for the, oh, sorry, he's helping take care of the ants for me, which is no fun. So the thing is, they're not like, it's not like spiders where you're like, wow. They're not like disease carriers like cockroaches or something like that, but they're still gross. So we know what to do every time it happens. So it's just a matter of getting it all done. I'm going to see if I can get one more of these puppies out of here. Doing all the scraping in bits. And this is just easier too. Then I don't have to wash my hands a gazillion times. And these are biodegradable. That's the other thing I like about them. So if I take that, I take some of it off of here. Some of that is just pure peanut butter. So, and this one's going to be small. It's going to be a baby Buckeye. So, all right. So we're going to roll these real quickly. They don't have to be perfect. If you come here looking for perfect, you're in the wrong place, y'all. My food tastes really, really good, but it's not always the prettiest food on the plate. I know other people make it much prettier than I do. But that brings them joy. So what do you want to turn on the water? That's fine. So here, pop that in there and just fill that up. That's the easiest way to do it. IT guy's helping me out, man. He's been a real big help today, actually. He went to the grocery store as well because I got my car serviced and it wasn't ready by yesterday. So, which my brother-in-law is the mechanic, so he loves us. We're family, but sometimes we wait because he knows. But he also knows we're the ones who are always going to get, we're going to pay on time. We're going to pay when we pick it up, that kind of thing. So, and because it's easier on him, we pay cash. So he doesn't have to give the fee to the company. So but if you are here and you don't even want to say hi, if you want to give me a thumbs up or a heart or something, just lets me know that you're out there. It's always helpful. So also know if you're in the United States, I know there's a lot of Buckeye haters. So oh well, it's where I was born. So I love it here. I do. I love to travel. Been all over the country. I've been to 4 countries other than the United States. I've been to Canada and Mexico, which are both our neighbors. I've been to the Bahamas, and I have been to England. So I'd like to go to a lot more places. Anybody else? Anybody else love to travel? I do. There's so many cool places to travel, to be honest. In and outside this country. So many things to see. I know some people are drawn to like the Middle East or and I had never thought about it, but my son and his wife went to Portugal last year, and then she went on to Spain. She won a contest when she was in. Hi, Shirley. We are making candy Buckeyes today, and I just finished rolling them. They're not perfect, but they'll do. And we're going to pop these into the fridge to get a lot firmer than they are right now. So next thing I have to do is make room for them. All right, that's for a recipe this weekend. Okay, that'll do. I think I can slide them in there. Ooh, Chick-fil-A sauce in the way. I'm gonna move one thing. That'll do. All right. Get a little sip of water here. I like the eye. That's cool. Is it Shaquana? I hope I said that right. Okay, so we're going to close this up. I'm going to need you to wash that one off, please. Or get me another one, just as long as I have another one, because I need one for the chocolate later. So we're going to let that sit. We're going to leave the chocolate alone for a little while. We're going to move on to the burgers. So okay, because I'm on the other side of the kitchen that I'm normally on, because we've got ants, we've got an ant trap up. That one's fine. I'm also going to need a bowl, if you don't mind, for the burger. The purple one will do. So if you're in a place where they have the big boy sandwich, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, it is made, it is essentially what they call a smash burger. And we are going to get the burgers ready. I didn't want to do that. Move that to the side. I don't need this until we're done with the burgers. But we're going to mix up the meat here a little bit. And then we're going to weigh them out. Hopefully this works like it's supposed to. It did! Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they don't zip open like they're supposed to. But that one did. I also keep a bucket right there for all my garbage. So, all right. Now, my son, when he makes his smash burgers, he seasons as they're in the pan. I'm going to season ahead. I'm getting a look. Am I not supposed to do that? I don't know. I got the. So, I've decided we're going to do it this way. One less step later on when I have to cook. That makes it easier. So, this just because I'm sure there's salt and pepper and some other. Will you put that on the sink? Thank you. All right. And we're going to get another. So essentially, if you know what a smash burger is, big boy is a couple of smash burgers. So we're going to work on that. But we're going to work the seasonings in there a little bit. And then just. It's still pretty cold. So it doesn't manipulate quite as easily. And then we're going to weigh out the burgers. So And this is actually about 1.5 pounds, so we'll have enough for three big boys, which works out perfectly since I have 3 people in my family. So, you know, I always wanted a kitchen scale, and for years I just didn't get one. Thought it was kind of a frivolous thing, and it's amazing how much you use one once you have one. You know, to be able to know exactly what a 4-ounce burger is kind of cool, in my opinion. Okay, that one's just about perfect. All right, so I'm gonna put another glove on just to make this easier. All right. I'm all about making things easier. I don't know about you, but the easier it is in the kitchen, the happier I am. And I love to cook, but anything that makes the process easier is great to me. So one of the things that I oh, it's pretty close, but one of the things that I'm really proud of, my father made deviled eggs, and he makes delicious deviled eggs, and I have his recipe, but it was something that took a really long time to make, like 3 hours, because he boiled his in a big pot and all that, and then he hand scooped everything back in, and when he was gone and I started making them myself and kind of took up the mantle of that, I started using my pressure cooker, and that helped speed it up by almost an hour. And then I started using a decorator, and my I got it down to about an hour, especially if my husband helps me peel the eggs. It's about an hour process, which is phenomenal. Ooh, actually got that one a little bigger than it needed to be. What's the difference? Close enough. All right, so I'm actually only going to get 5 out of here, so somebody's only going to get 1 patty. I think this one's going to be too big, though. This one's going to be extra large. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to split this into 2 small patties, so that might be mine then, because it was a little over 5, so if I can get like that much. Oh, 268 and 268. That's pretty cool. The little things that make you happy, right? All right, so that's those done. We're going to set those aside for a minute. And then next up is to melt the chocolate. So what we need here is 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'm going to put that in here. So nobody's got a regional dish they're willing to share with me. It would be so nice if you did. When we've got conversation, it's a lot more fun, to be honest. So there's 1 cup chocolate chips, and I like using chocolate chips honestly, because they do have whatever, something in them to help them hold their shape. So that's always good. All right. And again, there are benefits to being the cook. Would you like the couple? Hi, Margie. Here you go. Got to keep IT guy happy because he takes care of me. So, and he's going to help me with this part anyway, because I have to go to the microwave. I also need a little bit more butter. There it is. Now, the recipe calls for coconut oil. Calls for 2 tablespoons. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of butter instead. There's a point to that because coconut oil helps it, when it cools, it helps it to maintain its shape. Butter will do the same thing. Not as stiffly, but it will. Okay, we need this to go for about a minute, a half power. Power level 5. And then we'll do it for a minute or 2 and see how that looks. And then it needs to, hi Miguel. Then it'll need to cool down just a little bit while we wait for the peanut butter. So, and the nice thing about putting them on the sheet then is when we pull the sheet out, the pan that's underneath, it's a metal pan, it'll stay cold. So, but this week we have made Skyline chili or Cincinnati chili. That was pretty much a bust. The recipe I used, all my life I've eaten that chili and I've never made it for myself because it's just so easily accessible, if that makes sense. I mean, I assume in Paris that there aren't a lot of people who make croissant at home because what's the point, right? You can get the really, really good ones in the patisseries. So, hi, April. Welcome in. And I'm guessing it's Marguerite, or is it Margaret? So we'll give that a stir. And so Skyline chili is not something I make very often. So that did not turn out really well. But we also made a local delicacy called Geta earlier this week, and that turned out beautifully. And for those who were here, okay, we're going to go another, use this. I'm going to go another minute at half power, please. So, there we go. IT guy helping me out. So you guys didn't get to see it come out of the Instant Pot, but we ended up with, we call these chubs. We ended up with about 5 of these, as well as what we ate that night. So that made a lot. It's gonna, each of these will be at least a meal for the 3 of us. So that amount of geta that we made is at least 5 more meals. So 6 meals out of that, which is pretty cool. So it won't end up being that because we're going to share it. But, you know, we've got kids, and my husband, that was my husband's recipe. He's worked on it for years. And that geta recipe is amazing. I believe, you're right. Margarita, like the drink. Silly me, right? Margarita girl. Makes sense, doesn't it? Sorry. Sometimes it's hard to read that far away. And I say that because, IT guy just pushed it closer so I can see it. So I actually have, I have replacement lenses in my eyes that I needed. I had what they call early onset cataracts. I had cataracts when I was still in my 50s. And one of them was significant. And when they said you're going to have it was stuck to the lens. So they said you're going to have a lens replacement. And when they said that, they said you can get a lens replacement that will correct your vision. And my vision was terrible at the time. So 30 seconds this time at half power, please. And I'm probably going to add a little more butter to that afterwards. So anyway, so I got my vision corrected. But like they said, I still have aging eyes. So while it's way better and I can see better, sometimes... Yeah, that sounds good. A strawberry margarita. That goes good with chocolate, doesn't it? So, and a burger? Sure, why not? But that was Cinco de Mayo, right? That was last Cinco de Mayo on Taco Tuesday. Could we ask for more? But anyway, so, but sometimes if I'm tired, and I'm tired today, my eyes get a little fuzzy. So all the more reason to take care of your vision, people. And I did take care of mine. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to add a little more butter to this. I want it a little more viscous. So they say that this is optional. I don't think it is. So, and that should make it nice. And yeah, that's what we want. That's more what we want. We want it glossy. All these terms. Anybody else watch Bake Off? I love that show. That could make for an interesting afternoon if you're at work having a margarita. Sorry, that tickles me to think about it, depending on what you're doing, especially. So, yep. This is making things way better to have the butter in there. Because this is not dipping consistency, that's for sure. All right, I may ruin it, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right. Might make it a little too thin. But how about 30 more seconds at power level 4. Let's see what happens. I haven't made these in years. Again, because I have a sister-in-law who makes them a couple times a year, and she always gives me the extras. So I haven't really needed to make them. And when I was a kid, and there's so many foods that we make differently than when I was a child, many, many moons ago. And that would be, I'm 63, so we're talking decades. But when we made chocolate confections that you didn't want to melt, like just sitting out, you put paraffin in them. And you think about that now and you're like, my God, we put wax in candy. How crazy is that? So we don't do that anymore because that's just nasty. When you're a kid, you don't know any better. I always thought it was weird because I also made candles, and I'm like, the same thing I make candles with is going in my food. That's just kind of weird. But that's what the recipe said. And they came out beautifully. So, you know, that's one time I probably shouldn't have trusted the process, to be perfectly honest. All right, so we are getting there. I am not loving the consistency of this chocolate. It is not good. I may have to switch it up on this. There's no way I can dip into this chocolate. Okay. We're going to have to go with, and this is seizing up, so that's not good. Hang on just one second. I'm going to grab some oil. All right, let's see if we've completely lost the plot here. So, it happens sometimes. Twice this week that it happened, which isn't fun. So I just put about a teaspoon of oil in there. because that will sometimes bring chocolate back to the shine that it's supposed to have. But this is not happening. Well, that's disappointing. All right, we're going to try it one more time to see if it's just not melted enough or if it's too far gone, which it might be too far gone, in which case we'll try something else. Actually, I might try something really crazy. When I grew up, the one thing you never wanted to do was to put water in chocolate. And then I saw something from a guy from England, and he did this. It was the craziest thing. You know what? We turn on the kettle, and we're going to boil some water. And what he did is he put hot water in chocolate, and it made it so beautiful. So since it's not doing what it's supposed to, we're going to go ahead and do that. You're going to have to hit it again until it goes red. There you go. And I've only got a little bit of water in there, so it should go very quickly. And we'll see if we can bring this baby back to life. I will need either, you know what, give me a metal spoon. I'll try it with that. I think he used a whisk. But this is why we do this, so give me a bigger one. I always tell people it doesn't go perfect at home. And I always hate it when you watch a TV show and everything goes perfectly all the time. And you're like, it just makes you feel like a goofball, right? That like you can't, why can they do it and I can't? So I don't mind when I mess up. I don't mind when people see that I mess up. It happens. You know, I'm not gonna lose it over a bowl of chocolate. Good. Okay. He takes care of me, that IT guy, I'll tell you. So apparently we had a little glitch there. I forget to put it on Do Not Disturb, and he does it for me most days. So, because we record or we go live on my phone. So anyway, but yeah, this is not going to work. This is way too stiff. Now I do have some more semi-sweet chocolate in the pantry, so I can go for the other, go for something else that way. And that doesn't have all the emulsifiers and that kind of stuff in it. So but that can come out too thin. So that's where you got to figure it out. The other thing I could have done is I could heat up some milk and I could make it a ganache instead. And that would work as well. So, so we'll see how it goes. That's about all you can do is, first we'll try this, and then I think we'll just try making a ganache out of it. So, ooh, my nose itches. Excuse me. Excuse me. Whew. Okay. Wipe my hands off. I used a tissue. I've been yelled at when I've gone like this before. People have lost their minds. Just set it in here if you want. Since that's Pyrex, it'll... All right, experiment. Here we go. All right. We boiled some water in the kettle. I have my British friends to thank me for pushing me to get an electric kettle. Gosh, that was the smartest thing I ever did. It was amazing. Because I always had a kettle on my stove, and they're like, wait, what? I was like, well, isn't that what you guys do? And they're like, heck no, we have electric kettles. So here I always thought when they put the kettle on, they put a real kettle on the stove. No, not at all. They did not do that. They put an electric kettle on, and it takes minutes for it to warm up, which is cool. Speaking of which, guess what's happening? This is getting better. It's actually thinning out, which is exactly what we want it to do. But these are the kind of things you learn, as you cook, is you're like, well, what if I try this? Well, what if I try this? Well, what if I try this? a little bit more. That'll do it. Same thing like when I started making gluten-free. When I started doing gluten-free baking, what you learn is you need a lot more liquid than when you do regular baking because it soaks up lots of moisture. And you can end up with things that are very, very dry if you're not careful. So it is a big deal to try to figure that out. Yes! Ah! We saved the chocolate! A little bit more. It's pliable now, but it's not dippable yet. So I think this will do it. This is exciting. This is something I never would have tried if I hadn't seen a professional do it, to be honest. But I thought, this is nuts. But I also understand that chocolate isn't always made the same as it was. So, all right. So now, look at that. Now we're at more dippable consistency. So that's exciting. We saved it, guys. So happy. All right. So I'm going to put that there for now. We might add some more. So let's see how these guys are doing. Ooh, they're still pretty sticky. Not sure that's going to work. All right, I'm going to pull one out. See if it'll even dip. Because these are not where I need them to be to dip. I don't think. I think that's going to fall in. So we'll see. All right, so you take a toothpick and then you swirl it in the chocolate and then you pull it out. And that is actually what a Buckeye looks like, believe it or not. And then back on this tray it goes. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Now, some people just leave the hole in them, and that's that. I'm going to go ahead and dip as many of these as I can really quickly. Close this door. Actually, I want a little more chocolate on that. Yikes. And then they make a little foot when they're sitting there. Sorry. I don't know who I'm saying sorry to, but I say it a lot. But I lost one. That's the fear when they're too soft, is they'll fall off your toothpick. So dip, 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 dip. Just leave a little hole at the top. Put it right back down. We're not even going to drip them. We're just going to put them right back down. It could stand for this chocolate to be a little bit looser. So we'll see how it goes. If it starts to thicken up a little bit, I'm going to have to add more water. But that's what we do, and that's how we do it. And like I said, I haven't made these things in years, but this is kind of, gosh, you remember how fun it was as a kid to make these things and make them look like a real Buckeye. And this one's just giving me fits. So now it's not going to be real pretty. And then you usually have to, as you go through, get a new stick. So and go some more. And then once you chill them again, if you don't want the hole, which some people do, some people don't, some people want it to be more authentic, so they'll go back with like a spatula or the tip of a knife and they'll close that hole. So now, if you don't want to go through the whole mess of making this, there is something else you can do. And that is when you've got your filling made, instead of rolling it into balls, you can spread it into like a 9x9 pan. You might want to grease it first. And then spread your peanut butter mixture in there, and then just put the chocolate on top. And it's delicious that way too. It's just, these are more fun. So, and I know some people just roll them in the chocolate, but again, in my book, where's the fun in that? So they don't look like Buckeyes then. So we're getting there. We're getting there quickly. We're over halfway through. So, and I'm getting faster because, again, hadn't done this for years. So, awesome. Guys, I'm so happy about this. Kind of reminds me of when I made crepe Suzette last week, and I had never made crepes before. And the first time I got a crepe right, I felt like, yes! I was so excited. Ooh, sweating a bit. So, but then we'll pop these back in the fridge. Yes, even with chocolate on them. You pop them back in the fridge so that they set. You don't leave them in there very long, uncovered anyway. You can cover them and put them back in once they've gotten to a point where you can touch them. The dogs are barking at somebody. Probably the mail carrier. So here's one of the things. I love watching other people's cooking videos. I watch cooking videos when I'm not doing it myself. And a lot of people, I mean, it's just really soothing if they know what they're doing and they're just talking you through a recipe and, this one went awry. That's okay. Can't all be perfect. So now this one's got chocolate. Oh, no, chocolate came off. Good. I find it really therapeutic to watch people cook. And especially when they make things that are just, I don't like them when they're crazy. You know, making really weird stuff. I guess weird is a relative term. But, well, this one came way apart. So anyway, new stick. And that's happening. Just get a new stick. I only have 2 more left, so I'll tell you one I love to watch. And I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but his first name is Amari. And he's a chocolatier. And he makes the most beautiful things. And it just astounds me to watch him. And it's funny, I've watched chefs watch him cook and make things, and they're just like, yeah, that is a gift. What he does with chocolate is a gift from God. And so I'm going to pop these back in the fridge for a little bit. Not sure what we're going to do with the rest of that chocolate. I'll think of something. So next we are going to put together our big boy sandwiches. And I am going to need another paper plate, please. Because oh, hi, Diane. You've been here before because somebody else was here from Baltimore City. We've talked about this, and we were talking about your beautiful crabs that you guys have. Today we're making Buckeyes. We just finished dipping them, so they're in the fridge getting cold. And now we're going to make a Cincinnati staple sandwich, which is called a Big Boy. It's essentially a smash burger, and we're going to assemble it. It's typically a double decker. I didn't have time to go to a specialty bakery this week to get the kind of buns I would need. So we're just going to do what they would have called a combo, which means it's missing the middle piece of bread to be a double decker, but that's okay. It's still going to be delicious. We've made our beef patties and we've seasoned them with some Montreal steak seasoning. And now we're going to turn that on. And you said, well, I want it ripping hot, right? My son usually makes these for us. He is our smash burger expert. He learned from his brother. And we got our handy dandy. You want a really heavy duty flipper for this? When my son first started making them and he was smashing them. Okay, I thought so. And hi, Nina. Welcome in. We're making Cincinnati-based foods today. We're making, well, Buckeyes are an Ohio food, not just Cincinnati, but we made Buckeye Candy, which is currently, I'll get it back out, but it's setting in the fridge right now. And then we're making there are different kinds of big boy restaurants around the country. The one that we had around here was Frisch's. And sadly, they have gone awry, as I would say, because they made some bad financial decisions and ended up, most of them had to close. So we have very few left, but this is an iconic smash burger that they made. They've been making it since my mother was a teenager. And they had the little drive ups with the car hops where you would order from the car kind of thing. So it is a huge bit of nostalgia for me to have this. So I'm going to pull out a bun because I'm going to make one for... Now, the thing about a Big Boy is, a Frisch's Big Boy anyway. Bob's Big Boy is different. Theirs is more like it's similar to a Thousand Island, where Frisch's had their own special tartar sauce. And that's really what made the burger, was the tartar sauce. So, okay. Well, welcome back, Diane, and glad to have you. So here's the thing about, and IT guy doesn't like tartar sauce, so we're not going to put that on his. But normally what you would do is you would cover the bottom of the bun. What time is it? I'm going to go ahead and make it like I would make a normal one, because by the time it's made, Mr. 513 will be home. So this is their brand of tartar sauce. And what they always did is on the bottom bun, they put a generous supply. And it has to be generous or my husband will not like it. So a generous supply. And then shredded lettuce on top of that. So then you take a little bit of shredded lettuce and put that on top. Now, Mr. 513 does not like pickles that much. He always gave me his pickles. So they're just, your basic hamburger dills is all it was. But to me, it's not truly a Big Boy without one. But I'm going to put that right there for now. Our pan's not quite like it's getting there, but it's not quite where it needs to be. So, and then we're going to do good old American cheese on top. I know, if you're from outside the country, American cheese is not your favorite, but when you're from here, a plain old burger is just not a plain old burger without American cheese. And it's not something you eat every day anymore. At least I don't. My body won't handle this kind of stuff. I don't eat gluten. So like I said, this is not for me. This is for my family. I will have mine, honestly, in a bowl like a salad. And I will take some of the tartar sauce and I'll mix it in with the lettuce, and then I will eat it with my burger and cheese. That's how I do it, just because I feel better. To me, that feels better than even putting it on a gluten-free bun. My body feels better. It's less inflamed, if you will. So that's how I started actually eating gluten-free. So now there is a brand here locally called Sunny Marie, and they do ship. So if you're somebody who really loves a burger on a really good bun, I will tell you their stuff is really good. It's shipped to you frozen. So it's going to stay a little bit longer. And I've had one of the local places, around here we call them hoagies. And we love a steak hoagie, which I made earlier this week. And if you're from Philly, you're going to argue with me over what a steak hoagie looks like. But okay, that's what I want. I want it to sizzle when it hits. And then you smash it down. I should be doing two at a time, but we're going to do it this way right now. And that's the thing about a big boy, is those smash burgers are really thin. So you let that cook for just a minute. And like I said, it is seasoned ground beef. How long do I let it cook? Because I'm not used to making a smash burger. About a minute. He's ignoring me. How long per side? About a minute? Maybe two? Okay. He's going to look it up for me. And the thing is, you do it in a nonstick pan, or you don't do it in a nonstick pan because you actually want it to stick. You want that like crusty business on the bottom. Since I don't have a flat top, it's kind of your way to make things a flat top. And we might want to open the window because it's going to make the smoke. And I have a smoke detector right around the corner going down to my basement. There's a smoke detector. So if we make a lot of smoke, it goes off. And we seem to have that issue whenever we make something like smash burgers. So, all right. Don't crab at me. Oh, that's nice. Yes, that's exactly what we want. What? Oh, the cheese. Okay. Pointing. I'm not getting it. 30 seconds on the second side? Okay. Just enough to melt the cheese. Now, the thing about the big boy is that it is 2 burger patties. So, okay, that's what I did. Okay. So that's about done. Like I said, you want it to give that little, like, you got to work it off of there. So that's the first patty. And I think I'm going to do this way. I'm going to push this down, get it good and smashed. And then, just open the back door and open the window. And then I'm going to do one here, because this will be mine. And if I know IT guy, he'd probably rather make his own anyway. But my second one won't fit until we flip it. So, anybody got great plans for the weekend? Mr. 513 and I are headed off to a road trip next week. IT guy's going to stay here and take care of the house for us. And then when we come back, well, next week we're going to talk about road trip snacks. So we're going to be making some really fun things next week for that. And then when we come back from our road trip, we're going to, because it's about that time, man. Summer is coming. And we've got, I'm going to need to cut that in half. So we're going to focus on quick, easy meals to make. So, there we go. I can open it a little bit. Now the whole neighborhood's going to smell like burgers. Then I'm going to go ahead and smash this one. Can you give me another plate? This one will be for me. I'll just set that to the side. Or get me a bowl and I'll put some lettuce in there. Do you want yours now or do you want yours now? Okay, then I'll make yours now. All right, so we're making the burgers. For me, I'm just gonna put some ice in the bowl, or shredded iceberg in the bowl. Like that. And then I'll just put some tartar sauce over it like that, and I'm going to mix that in. But for Mr. 513, we're going to put some more tartar sauce on his burger because in his mind, it's all about the sauce. And if it's not running down your arm, there's not enough. He might even put more on there, but he can do that on his own. So his burger is made. And that's a big boy combo. And it is a little wonky, but he won't care. So I got to get this one off of here for me. And get this one flipped over with some cheese on it. Anybody else, when they go to the deli, when I get cheese, I always get papers in between. So I will literally sit here because we got the pre-slice because it was faster. But I am going to sit here myself and I got the papers. I bought the kind of papers that you need. And I put those in between. Ow, don't do that. I touched the pan with my knuckle. Okay. Whew. Itchy. So, all right, get this guy off of here and where it belongs. Oh, I'm fine. I don't need it. Like I said, I just got it with my knuckle. Silly me. That can go in the sink. As thin as I can. That's as thin as I could get it. That's why I told you could make your own, but because they get a little thicker as they cook up. So I'm spreading them out as thinly as I can. All right, we're on our last two. Why don't you hand me a plate for yourself then? I used to have one on the wall, and man, when we moved here, I had no idea how much I was going to miss that exhaust fan. I had one over my stove, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't pull it out. It just moves it around, which is kind of useless, you know? So, yeah. I used to have one of the old ones on a pull chain, you know, that were on the side of your kitchen. We lived in my husband's grandmother's house. I loved that house, other than the fact that we lived there for 8 years and it flooded. The basement flooded 3 times. And after the third time, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I told him, I said, I got to get out of here. I love this house, but I have to leave. Plus, it was a small house. It was a 2-bedroom house, and we had 3 boys. And yes, we could have raised them in that, but it would have been really, really hard. Um, so we ended up moving here, and I had it seemed the same size, but it wasn't. And what I lost was a walk-in pantry. That I missed my walk-in pantry. I missed the exhaust fan, and then I missed the now I actually have more storage space here, and I still don't feel like I have any. But I also had a really long table that I didn't have any counter space, but that made up for it. And this sort of does, but not in the same way. I have so many ways, different ways that I would make this for, that I would do this. There you go, sweetie. Or not. If I had options, which I do, but they're very expensive. I'm going to go put this on my stove so it can cool down. Okay, since that touched meat, we don't want it to touch anything else. Move this to the side because it's hot and we don't want it to touch anything else. Let's see if I can pull one of these off yet. Not really. It's still really soft. So, will you give me a fork? We're going to taste test this. Sorry, IT guy is moving kind of slow. I don't want a big fork. You know that. Sorry, ADHD. You got to have a certain kind of fork. I don't know if anybody else is like that. But, oh yeah, I'm sure it does stop the smoke detector. The one we had was amazing. So I'm going to give this a try. See, this is, like I said, this is a taste at home for me. It was my favorite thing. Coming home from college, this was one of the things I always wanted to do. That's so close. So there you go. Ground beef, Frisch's tartar sauce. I need a little more. And honestly, it sounds crazy, but that shredded lettuce is a big part of why it makes it taste like a big boy. So love that. And then I'm gonna find a way to get this chocolate off of here. See if I can find one that's, I got a really small one here. Maybe I can pull that one off. Yeah, they're not quite ready. I can tell you they're still smushy. So I'm going to put that back in there. But for taste, for posterity and taste, it looks terrible. And the truth is, because it's not set yet, the texture's not right. But the taste is. It's that sweet hit of peanut butter and that lovely bit of semi-sweet chocolate that, for me, tastes like home. So, that's the wrap up of 513 week. For everybody who's been here all week, thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot. Next week, because we're coming up on road trip season, we're going to talk road trip snacks all week. We're going to be making some. We're going to make a snackle box. We're going to do all kinds of fun things next week. So I hope you guys will come back. And we'll be making some really great things. The ants will be gone, so I'll be back on the other side of the
of the table. And I hope you guys have a really wonderful weekend, whatever it is that you have planned. Love you guys. Eat well, be well, and I'll see you on Monday.